All right, it's 6:15. We'll
7 years
call
of
committee
transition.
the whole to order for December the 11th, 2017. Item 1 on the agenda is 4.1, arena concession.
So what we have here is every year we end up with a struggle getting someone to operate our arena. This year we've done very well. The people that are operating the concession are doing very well. They'd like to buy some equipment. We're interested, and Amber has put this forward, she would like to sign a 3-year lease for the concession so that moving forward we don't have to worry about this for the next 3 years, that they can upgrade their equipment what they need. So what we would ask for is a resolution of council to approve a 3-year term, please.
I have one comment. Should we be building in like an increase?
Amber said
It
there
is.
is.
There
Yeah.
is.
It is, yeah.
Because it looks, okay, just looks like the last 2 years are the same.
Yeah, there.
I
Any
agree
other
with, no, I agree.
Okay.
It's always the same thing every year, like who's gonna do it, who's gonna
How
do
nice
it.
to have a
And if
clear
they're
view.
going to put in equipment, newer equipment, then it's good in their part.
Other thing I thought that might be relevant was whether or not to put in a clause that they get first right to renew
At the end of the 3 years?
at the end of the 3 years.
Sure, that's actually good.
Because that way, if you like them and you just want to keep it rolling along, you don't have to go through the process of.
Yes, I mean, it's year 1 and she's really enjoying herself, so.
Yeah. Those I would just mention that those clauses typically are based on a negotiated rate, so it's a first right to renew, but it's not just an annual, the rate just carries on for 10 years if you want to do it. It's a negotiated rate for a period of time again, right?
Okay, that's good.
So we have a
Go on
resolution?
that, yep. 4.2, Sustainable Communities Conference and Trade Show. Brian.
Yes, myself, Rod Bersworthy, Reason for the RM, and Judy Head of OCN got invited to attend on the 3rd day of the conference in Ottawa in February the 8th. They want us to participate in one of their workshop sessions. The original invitation came at the beginning of October, and at that point in time, none of us really considered going. But as things happen, a whole bunch of things fell into place, and when they asked us again about 10 days ago, in discussion, we decided, yes, we would like to go. So what I'm asking of council is, if I can attend now, they are paying approximately half, about $2,000 towards the travel and accommodations, and I think now some of the meals. But I would like to be able to go and attend the conference itself. So there's 2 extra days, 2 extra nights, and the associated per diem costs and that. So what I'm asking of council is, would you allow me to go?
Absolutely, you have your own travel budget. And most of it's being compensated.
What are the agenda items? I don't particularly see any issue with that, Brian. It seems to make sense if somebody else is picking up the travel costs and whatever. What are the, aside from the Friendship Accord discussion of FCM, what are the other conference, or do we know the agenda?
I don't know what the exact agenda is.
Always a ton of things to learn.
Yeah,
Probably in January.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm okay with it.
Okay,
Okay, so then I guess there has to be a resolution.
yeah, make a resolution for you.
Thank you.
All right, 4.4, payroll and accounts, just.
So we would require a resolution for pay period 24 in the amount of $108,000 to $1190. General checks in the amount of $1.446,477.51, and EFTs in the amount of $55,675.81, for a total of $1,610,365.22. Some of the significant purchases is the handy van for $115,917. We got our bill from Simco, and that was for $634.54. And we've also got FanSet in here, and that's another progress payment, and that's for $474.429, and that's for the Rose Avenue. And then on your second last page, you will see $606,409 for Receiver General, and that is for our police. Yeah, our quarterly.
Any issues? Okay. No. Resolution.
It's just-
All right, 4.5, legalization and regulation of cannabis. Councilor Rock.
Yes, the issues come up. Both Jim and I attended a workshop at the MM conference. Out of that came a request from government that communities identify themselves as to whether or not they wish to be considered in January, when they're considering the communities that will be involved in selection for retail outlets. And from what I understand, is if we don't put our name in for that, then we get ignored in that go-round, and then that leaves you running behind. So I think in fairness to our business community and whatnot, we should move forward in notifying the government that we wish to participate in the cannabis retail.
Anybody else?
I'm just gonna say no. I don't want a cannabis retail outlet in the fall. I don't. I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say yes. I also just had a thought. Is this something that we could tax as a municipality? Like if we put like a, say, 2% tax that came back, much like the accommodation tax that could then be used for recreation or community enhancement or that sort of thing? Or is this gonna be along the same lines of like cigarettes and alcohol? Because I'm just thinking that like the liquor store has created some issues for us, if you will, being in the location that it is. And not that I'm saying that, you know, it needs to move by any means, but I'm just thinking that, like, you know, we see all this money go to the liquor store and a little bit of that comes back to us, but really not our fair share. And same with like VLTs, right? A little bit of that money comes back to us through Manitoba Liquors and Lotteries, but not our fair share for what we're contributing to that economy. So I'm just thinking if there was a way that we could impose a tax and then have a little bit more control over how that business benefits our community, right? If we're controlling where the 2% goes and how it's spent. But again, I don't know if that's something possible, being that it's going to be like
That's no different than when Thompson tried to do the alcohol, and when they did the hotel tax, they tried to roll drinks and, I don't know if it was, or VLTs, I think, or tobacco, one of the two into it, and the province just flattened it and said no.
It might not hurt to ask though.
Well, I'm not suggesting that.
I might just add, a different government, different times. I had some conversations with some politicians who really think it's time to relook at a lot of those things.
Randy, what have you guys heard?
We've heard very little. We basically, what we formally got is the sheet that says, check yes or no if you want it in your community. What I did do is, Jim had called me when they were at the convention and this was all happening, and I did a lot of research on this across Canada. It's been very, very slow across every province. And it's funny you bring that up, because in a little report I'd done up just more for my own internal, until we find out what the actual regulations are gonna be from the province, because right now it's like 19 years old, what else are you gonna be putting on that, right? So I'm kinda having a hard time working with not knowing. But one of the things I did put was if there's any kickback of money to be coming back to the communities that are gonna allow the sale, that I seen that as something that would be interested into going into the infrastructure in the community.
Was there an announcement today that Manitoba said they refused to sign on to the federal government's?
The Free Press today, there was a story about Manitoba's pushing that they keep all the taxes.
Right, they wouldn't sign
Yeah.
on to the agreement for the split on the
Feds
taxes.
won't-
My understanding, the federal government originally looking was at 50-50, and now apparently they're at a 75-25. So I don't know if it's right or wrong.
So that's where I'm kind of hoping some of that money is gonna come back direct to our community, and that was part of my proposal that I was presenting, was to maybe look at putting it into an infrastructure renewal reserve fund.
Folks, I just think we need to give them an answer, and then we can work out details as they come forward. Because even at AMM, they just went, you know, you gotta say yes or no, and you gotta do it by the 22nd of December.
Your question is, please confirm if your municipality currently intends to allow cannabis to be sold from a retail location situated in your municipality. Yes, we intend to allow, or no, we do not intend to allow. And then basically, we understand our community can change its position on this matter at a later date, and that the response is above is not binding. So they require this as our answer by noon on December 22nd.
So quick poll, yes or no?
Yes?
No.
I know, but I'm back to you.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't looking.
Okay. Yes,
Yes.
yes, 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 no,
No.
yes, yes. I think that's a,
Well, yes.
that's a.
Check the
This
yes
isn't,
box.
this isn't something we need a resolution on or anything,
No,
right?
it's
We
just
can
basically-
we just need a straw poll and
Yeah,
you just send it,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
And this is for a July 1st start, so I think there's going to be a lot of work that's going to take place early in the new year.
Yeah.
And the yes is just from now to the end of January, when they're actually talking to the suppliers and working out the details on distribution that way. So if you're not in there, they're not even gonna be looking.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? Happy holidays, everybody. We're adjourned.
Museums are 4.3.
Oh, did I miss that?
Is Michael here somewhere?
Oh.
Yeah, I see.
Oh, I thought we were all done. Okay.
What did you say, Jed? That he's the mayor? He said it, no?
I can't believe that. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. Okay, Michael. You guys, come on in.
On a chair, maybe.
Because they can get out front.
Oh, yeah. you don't
Can we scooch down and pull another chair or something?
Yeah, yeah, I'll move down. I'll move down, around.
What is that, FAS? The whole Canada's gonna be doing more, but
I want to put the cookies.
it's just too much on that.
Good enough?
She knows.
Okay.
Don't everybody think I ate that way?
Thank you, Jack.
See you.
Everybody think I ate.
Oh,
We hang it right here.
Oh, yeah, you got that.
that's the plan.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 3 chairs. Come sit, there's one more.
You're working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
Hello.
I didn't have a.
Hello.
I'm not having a.
Welcome.
I know, thank you. There's no sugar on here, look.
Yeah, we have
No sugar in there.
I baked that tonight.
some handouts. Who
They're
needs
good.
a handout?
Come on.
Yep, here, if you pass me a stack. I
You
can
guys
pass
might
you
want to
that.
share them or?
Just
See how
bring
many-
it.
That's
the
the
good
good
news
news
comes.
because I'm not even
Huh?
with these.
The good news coming.
The good news, yeah.
That's okay. Here we go. Somebody else
I'll take
grabs
one,
it.
Robin.
Thank you. Is there like something we didn't know of?
No? Thank you. What's the protocol?
Take her away. Robin.
There isn't any.
Over to you. Who's your spokesperson?
Me.
The floor is yours,
No,
Robin.
no, we are.
The floor is yours.
The floor is mine?
Just before we start, I'd just like to declare that as a council rep, I do sit on the museum board as a board member and have been party to their discussion.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
So, we have some information which you have in your hands now. Just as an opening remark, the museum is a department of the town of Pas. And it's a little bit unique, I think, in that it has charitable status, so it's able to garner donations. I don't think that any other department has that status. And a long time ago, the town and Rotary made an agreement, and that's how the museum became a department of the town. So what we're hoping to not necessarily remind you of, but make you aware of what the museum does, and that's in the information here. We're a Manitoba Star attraction. We're #1 of the 7 wonders of the Pas. We do all sorts of things, good things for the community. So over the years, we've had a surplus in the budget, and now with the 2017 reduction of 10% from the town grant, We were able to cover that in 2017 with there was a surplus and which left us 14, I think it's on page 3 there, about $14,000, $14,600 and some dollars short.
Page 5.
So, yeah, the fixed costs are to be borne by the town. And so now our 2018 budget has been submitted for your consideration, and we're really hoping that the town grant will match the fixed costs of the museum. So I'm not sure that you guys have that information just yet,
No, not yet.
but it's coming. So the realistic shortfall last year was just around $40,000, but there was enough surplus to cover off and left 14,664 short to cover salaries, utilities, and other fixed costs. So. Sorry to get to the point so quick.
Well, that is the point, though.
That is the point, yeah. And so the rest of the brochure talks about what happens at the museum, and we're just hoping that we can continue to have a museum, because without the fixed cost being covered, you probably won't have a functioning museum.
So I got 2 questions.
Sure.
One, you said, so it was 10% of, and your grant is 132.
Yeah, it was 140.
It was 146 before that.
Oh, it was 146 before
Yeah,
that? Okay,
we
got
lost
it. Gotcha.
14,600 the year before, plus we had some surplus monies in the bank account which had to be repaid back to the town, which covered our entire, took away everything. We're still not sure how that happened, so if somebody can explain it to me, it would be nice. Most of the thing we've done is through grant monies. Anything we've picked up, we've got extra grant monies.
You've never had a conversation about that?
About the money being returned back to the town, Brian?
Did our former chief financial officer not discuss that with you?
Well,
Not
yes, he came
satisfied.
to our meeting, which I still don't understand exactly how the money.
Oh,
that
okay,
came-
I thought you
Yeah.
hadn't been talked.
No, we
Oh,
were talked about, this is
We were
me,
talked
this
at,
is me.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not really great on financial matters, that's why I stay
Okay,
away
yeah,
from it.
yeah.
So, well, another point is that the town is on the hook for the utilities and upkeep of the museum, because it's a
Heritage.
Heritage.
Designated building.
designated heritage site.
Right.
So the difference in our round and round of finances, the difference between having it open and having it closed is about $40,000 a year. It's still gonna cost you a lot of money,
Yeah.
whether it's a museum or not.
And I think the other thing is the estimated cost to decommission everything and
Oh,
keep people and
that's-
staff is
yeah.
close to $500,000.
So back to,
Yep.
you said the year before was 146, that was a grant from the town, and it went down to 131.
Yes.
Right, so that's a difference of what?
Salaries, that
That's a
was
difference of about
14,000.
14,000.
yeah.
So that was the shortage from last year?
Except
Yeah.
that didn't take into account the other fixed costs, such as utilities, maintenance. What was the other one there, Robin?
Well, there's salaries.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
Utilities and maintenance, which already to November of this year is over $50,000.
So is the grant from the town 146,000 plus?
The grant, okay.
The grant's
What
131.
What the grant was 131,000 plus the 50,000 there, which we didn't get, so.
But what I'm
all
saying
we-
is that the year before was $146,000.
Yes,
That
we
came
were
from the
still
town.
doing
Yeah.
it.
It was cut 10%,
Yes.
which is $15,000.
Yes.
If you're
Yes.
short by $40,000,
Yes.
and that's the part I don't understand.
We had some money in the bank.
Fundraising.
I get that, but you're short $40,000,
Yeah.
but the town gave you $15,000 less. So what happened to the other 30?
If you'll notice, there's been a fair bit of, over the years, we've done, Shireen and Joanna
Yeah.
and the people have done an awful lot of fundraising,
Okay.
grant writing.
Okay.
So they're not
stuff like
committed
this.
every
Oh,
year.
that's
Right,
what
gotcha.
we have no
The shortage isn't
guarantee.
necessarily from the
Yeah.
town.
No.
Gotcha.
It's
Yes.
donations,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And was there a donation made by the RM?
Yes, there was.
One time.
One time.
16.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they commit for 3 years?
And this is something they need to look at every year, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
We are going to apply with them again,
Yeah.
obviously.
But it's not set for fixed
No.
costs.
None of the grants, given the current economic climate, we can't be guaranteed of any grants. I know that there were several, not through the museum, but through Rotary Club that were turned down recently that have usually been pretty much no-brainers, so.
We apply for a lot and we get a lot, but they're not.
You
they're
can't
not
can't bank on them, so.
Yeah.
We're doing good, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically,
Yep,
the total costs for the, like, I don't know, 209, that's to the end of November,
Yeah.
I'm assuming? Yeah, so tack another, $18,000 onto that for December type of thing, so basically 230, somewhere in that range.
Give or take.
Yeah.
So it's 230 and the government revenues, like the ones from the province and the government of Canada, those are pretty stable, I'm
I
assuming?
have to apply for those funds, so a lot of
But
it's
they usually kept.
So far, yes.
Yeah, it's not like you have to write a big proposal, different proposal every year for them.
I have to apply for them every year.
You have to apply for them, and the Moffett Fund, same thing. So these are all stable revenues?
Not necessarily, no.
Not necessarily.
No. Especially in Moffett. And not even in Manitoba. It's not necessarily the same.
It's not,
And
no.
so,
No.
yeah. some of them.
We had our students cut from.
Yeah, we lost some student funding this year.
So if the RM gave 16,000 in 2017, where's that on here? Like, should there be a line that says?
And they're doing that.
So it went into donations?
yep.
Okay,
Because it
Went
is a
into
donation.
other-
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Other? Yeah, oh, it's in the other? Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Essentially, what we're saying is that with salaries and benefits, and of course, those are probably going to go up, I'm assuming over the next year or so. I don't know what the status is on that, but making the assumption that it's going to go up. The fixed costs that we have, plus salaries and benefits, come out to $176,000. And we can't do anything about those. That's what it costs to run the museum without any of the other add-ons, which is the stuff we get the other grants for. And I think we get grants locally once a year from the Arts Council to put on the displays in the museum, traveling exhibits, this kind of thing. Shireen will get funding from various museum associations to also to get, so we can get traveling exhibits in here. We have, it comes down to, to me, it's one, and yeah, I'm biased, but it's one of the most important cultural aspects in the town. Without it, without the cultural part, what do you got,
Pretty hard to find an argument in this room, I think.
Yeah.
So I know the funding is tight and stuff, but we needed to be able to make sure that everybody was aware that the fixed costs aren't just $131,000. There's that whatever salaries and benefits are accrued above and beyond that, but also the cost of maintenance of the building, the cost of.
So you've submitted your 2018 budget
Yes.
to senior managers? Okay, good. All right.
What was your ask from the town of LaPaul for 2018?
It was 172,000.
172.
And that covers the fixed expenses that we have.
What, when you guys went through your budget, did you review any operational changes? I know, like I said, on the library board, they're in the exact same boat as you guys are. They changed their schedules, they shifted people around, they eliminated positions so that they could change things around, so that they were able to make some savings.
We only have 2 positions.
Yeah, summer students, though.
Yeah, and we've already raised them.
Those we
I mean, my question is,
Yes.
We're talking about this. Yeah.
The library has, 2 or 3 full-time employees, they have seasonal term staff, whatever, they were able to find ways to jiggle things around to improve it.
That's what we.
Everybody's making changes, so you guys are doing the same, that's my question.
I guess the thing is, what they did was close on Saturday. Weekends are important for our staff, so do we close during the week for a day?
What element of it is,
You know.
what is it about Saturday that?
Well, that's what
that
drives, if you're gonna get people in from in out of town and stuff like that, they're gonna go to the museum, they're gonna go Saturday, Sunday.
Weekend stuff.
I mean, I guess.
And we're only open 4 hours a day.
When we looked at this at the library, because it was the same
Yeah.
argument to start, it was, well, we need weekends, everybody wants to come to the library on weekends. But when we looked at actual usage on the weekends, looked at actual revenue generation on the weekends, not just people through the doors, but is it actually generating revenue, looked at opportunity cost and the done the cost benefit analysis on it, it was hard to argue the point that being open on weekends, for as much as the optics of it are that it's better, we
Yep.
wanted to do that. The finances and the economics of it didn't show that that was actually the best, most productive target time.
Right.
The highest number of people using the library is happening in the weekdays. The demographics have changed on who's using these things. So I don't know the optics on the museum. What I'm asking you is, have
We
you
can
guys
look at it.
reviewed these things and actually, with a critical eye, not just with a sympathetic one, but with a critical eye, looked at it and said, we see people on weekends, we get $3 per head when they come in. Is it really, does the cost benefit actually weigh in there? In terms of operational aspect, right? And I get that there's more than just operational aspect, I'm not suggesting that there isn't. But times are tough, and this is the exact same conversation that we've had with every other department head. Everybody has made changes because they've all come to the conclusion that there is some changes we can make. Maybe you guys have, I don't know, that's why I'm asking the question.
Just one of the
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things I think that's important to realize is that certain costs don't change whether or not we have it open or not. The heat has to stay the same.
Which is why I
all
say
that
that
stuff.
it's not
So
about the fixed costs, it's about are you
Yeah.
generating revenue on those times? Because whether you're open on Saturday or Sunday or not, you're paying for the heat. There's no water usage, but there's likely not exactly water usage anyway on a Saturday or Sunday, but, I mean, that's my question, right? So it's really easy to boil down, because your fixed costs, you're not even looking at them. You're just going, what are the variables that change if we were open on a weekend or closed on a weekend? If we're open,
we can certainly take a look
does that
at it.
change the dynamics of
A
revenue?
museum is different than a library.
It
That's
is,
when we
and I wanted
mostly
to say
get
that.
tourists.
Yeah.
Tourism, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, people who go to the library aren't usually tourists.
no,
No.
that's
You know,
exactly right.
It's a very different lens.
It's a different kind of
Yeah.
clientele.
So, but I mean, so that might cause you to look at it from reverse and go,
Yeah.
well, does that mean that we
Yeah.
could be staggering, or instead of being operational 353 days a year, could we be closed on Mondays? I mean, if you looked at your head counts on Mondays and you talk to your staff, and I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying, like, we need everybody to think about every angle. Does that mean that 6 days a week you're open and that staff, one of their weekend days is a Monday?
I guess the problem with that is the way, and this is just me talking off the top of my head without looking at anything, you have 2 permanent staff employed by the town that work Monday to Friday. Whether we open or close on Monday is not gonna make a whole lot of difference to the actual cost.
And that's
It's
where.
just, all it's gonna be is a
and that's where I'm
revenue
saying-
neutral.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm saying,
At best.
so if your permanent staff schedule was able to be changed, so that their weekend fell to a Sunday, Monday instead of a Saturday, Sunday, then you maybe eliminate the cost of having summer staff.
Someone on the
winter
weekend.
staff
Yep.
on the weekends.
That's a possibility, but.
Don't get me wrong, I don't know enough about museum operation to suggest that that's actually a solution. I'm just saying that at every conversation that I've had as a counselor with every group that's come to us in this situation, including the departments, these are the tough conversations that we need to have. It can't just be, well, we can't trim anymore. It's not about trimming, it's about, is there a way to rotate the organization a little bit, shift the dynamic a little bit, and pick up some efficiencies?
I think the best, if we even eliminate the weekends, I think the best, the savings would be between $5,000 and $6,000.
And I totally get
Well,
that.
And I'm guessing.
That's a good start.
But it's, yeah, you bet, it's a great start.
Yeah.
Crystal?
So I just have some questions about revenues. So what is the admission to the museum? Is it $3?
It's $5.
$5. So I'm looking at museum attendance for 2016, and it was 3,575 people plus 819 school/youth groups, but only a $3,080 attendance revenue. So to me, that's a pretty big discrepancy in the number of people that you're coming in. Like, I don't know, I'm just looking, I guess, for an explanation why it seems like the revenue for the attendance is so low compared to the number of people that are attending. And my other question was gonna be like, can you look at increasing the price? But I guess if you're already up to $5, then
Yeah.
you've done
Tend
it.
not to
The member,
charge
like the
school
membership
groups or
doesn't, you just pay it once a year, so it doesn't, they get recorded that way?
Oh, I see, so you pay a membership.
So if a
and then
member
you can
comes in, it
go-
just, there's no $3.
Also,
Yeah.
school groups are not charged,
And youth groups.
and youth groups,
Okay.
yeah, and they're
Right.
probably the biggest percentage
Yes.
of use, so.
So another thing, I realize you guys are pressed for time here.
Actually, we're
Another-
not.
No, we're
You're
not.
not? Oh, good.
Wow.
Good.
We got all the time in the world.
All the time in the world.
Being a stink eye.
The maintenance of that building is just about 100 years old, eh? So the front steps are falling off, and we got a quote of $350,000 to repoint the bricks. It's coming at us as an us. So,
Yes.
yeah,
For sure.
like a tough conversation is a tough conversation, so.
You know, we replaced the roof
Yeah,
entirely on
$100,000.
grants,
Yeah.
100,000.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, for sure, and
It is.
it's tough, like, you know, it's an old building, they're
Yeah.
expensive, and I know, like, is it Heritage, who do you deal
It's a
with?
heritage building.
It's,
Yeah, Heritage
but
Management.
you deal with
It's a
Heritage
province.
Manitoba,
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
province or whatever, I know they're pretty good about doing some things, but I know there is a lot of fundraising that has to be done and
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and, you know, they are tough conversations especially, but the quicker everybody knows about them and how quickly they need to be done.
Well, I know that Shireen had started this a year ago, putting out the tenders for the brickwork, and
Yeah, it's
just
just
said,
something-
no, I don't think we
Well,
can afford that.
that's not exactly what we're talking about here, but it's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And no, maintenance is not nobody wants to do maintenance, but it's kind of a
Yeah,
necessary
you
thing
can't put it
that
off
has to
forever,
happen.
yeah, absolutely.
And it's a pretty cool place when you see it with the lights on tonight.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think it's a worthwhile thing to have in our town still, so.
It's a star attraction,
yeah.
It is a
Yeah.
star
that's what
attraction.
it is.
And that's what people know when people have heard about, if they haven't heard about the museum, they've heard about the two-headed cat.
So
And
10
when the paper did the 7 wonders of the Paw,
Yeah,
above Clearwater Lake,
yeah,
according to people in this town,
Yeah.
the museum.
absolutely.
And and I think the fact is that we've attracted very good quality people to work here.
Yep.
And they've done a marvelous job over the years of doing the fundraising and everything else. The fact that we're coming here and saying we need to increase our base by $40,000 is to ensure that we can keep the place open. It's not even the salaries so much as really that $40,000 is the fixed cost above it's going to be more than that if it's not being used, and the town's going to be paying that anyway, you know, one way or another, because they have to maintain the heritage building. And it can't drop below a certain temperature, or there's going to be all kinds of problems you guys don't even want to start to think about.
Well, I mean,
You know.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Have you guys approached OCN? I mean, you talked with the RM last year, you
They've all been
plans to talk with the
Yeah.
RM, you approached
Yeah.
those OCN, what did OCN have to say?
Quite a long time ago.
Oh, we've
Oh,
gone to
see, it
OCN
is-
every year. We sent another letter last year.
Yep,
Yeah.
every year.
We had OCN representation on the board,
Yeah.
and now it's dwindled to
We don't
zero.
get very much
Yeah.
No funding.
cooperation.
They haven't talked to you about,
No,
Bring up the contribution,
like Glenn Ross had the idea one time, several years ago, to have a museum on OCN. A cultural type of museum on OCN. So, yeah, no, it
Okay.
we haven't had much participation in the last few
Okay.
years, for sure.
anything else?
No, I don't think so. If you guys, looks, Margaret's writing there, and
All right.
everybody's writing stuff down, so.
I think just at the end, we're not asking for the Cadillac, we're asking for the Chevy Cruze here, okay? We just want the base model
So,
to keep us open.
when we do our 5-year plan, we will relook at Andrew's suggestions.
I don't want to leave you with the impression that I think that somehow, this discussion is not driven by my opinion that somehow the museum isn't operating efficiently as it operates. What I'm suggesting is that for everybody in every organization, once you're in your groove and you're working and you have your set ways of working, you tend not to step far enough
Right.
back
To
to
look.
look from, call them uncomfortable angles if you want, but they're just angles that you wouldn't normally look at.
I appreciate that.
But we have asked, and everybody has gotten the same conversation, and it has been as somewhat uncomfortable when we do that, but it's our obligation to do that at this point in time, and I trust absolutely that this board, because this board works really hard, I've sat there, I've seen it, it's awesome, and I can trust that when you guys review that, you'll do that from an earnest standpoint, understanding where we're coming from.
I just had one other thing, Andrew, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I just wanted to remind the council, we had not had any increase in several years, I think 5 years, from our base funding before it had. So the costs were going up, we were maintaining the same grant. Sorry.
No,
Good
that's
enough.
good.
Yeah,
Enough said.
yeah.
Just one question about the bricks. Has that ever been done to the museum, repointing, or is this something going to be
I
done
don't
in?
know. Not in my days.
Probably 75 years ago.
Yeah, before my time.
If it's a 100-year-old building, it's probably 75 years
It
ago.
lasts a long time.
Yeah.
It can be done in sections too, like it can be done slowly, but
I know
it's
there
a
was a
jewel
guy
of
there a
building.
few years ago
Not if you're,
watching
it's
it.
tough when you gotta
Yeah,
get
and he
somebody else
did,
from
we
Winnipeg
fixed
to
the
do
Yeah,
that.
windows.
oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm just
No
wondering if
masons
that
left
was
in the
repointing
bar.
at that
No,
time,
that's
or-
right.
No, he was fixing, mostly the windows, when he had the scaffolding set up,
No, this
or
was,
he
this
was
was
doing
quite a few
bricks.
years
No,
ago.
brick guy?
No, we
He
did.
had the water from behind the house behind.
We had the windows.
Behind the museum, he was up there with the water hose, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I worked at the clinic, so that's why,
Yeah, yeah.
that's why I'm asking if that's when they did the repointing, so.
No, there's,
No,
there's,
that wasn't-
yeah,
that wasn't that.
long,
Okay.
long.
They were redone.
Yeah, we did
Well,
all the
leave me
windows
this.
as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
the,
thank you.
Yeah.
This is nice, it's good
The
information.
windows were all done as well, so, and the painting of the, some of that things, so.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being here on a Monday evening, all of you.
We do this all the time. Mondays
You
are
should
our-
come sometime, Robin.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for a special occasion
No,
like
you
this.
can
to come to a
You
meeting.
can come in. You can come whenever you want.
Yeah.
Every second, we'll be here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Don't run on your way out.
See you guys.
See you, Pandora.
Oh,
Yeah, your jacket's way down the other end. Bye, Bev.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I just haven't got the approval, I gotta get you to sign it. And my printer wouldn't let me put in different names for some,
Good thing.
the form, so every
Yeah.
time I
Could've
put it
gotten
in,
nasty if-
push it in.
I already had one.
That's why I was.
It was such a pushover.
I'm still, yeah, I haven't had a chance to talk to the people I wanted to talk to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Jeez, student recycling.
Can we take that pen away from Councilor Ross?
Hey?
For everything.